the second pick came and North snapped me up, I felt like I was expected to be something, whereas I could make my own path in footy. Yeah, there's a difference between motivation and discipline where, you know, you can be motivated for, you know, a few weeks, but discipline and resilience are going to sort of push you through the hard times. Hi, I'm Finbar Maley, and this is Under the Surface.
Boy.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm not jumping on camera today because I'm sick as a dog.
She's sick.
I'm sick as a dog. So instead of me sitting next to Finbar, you have Loki.
Yeah, he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
Keeping me company.
So Finbar today just signed his extension contract. Just look at me.
Oh, I look at you.
You know what?
Okay.
Finbar today signed his extension contract. How long have you known about that?
I got a text from my manager James, who's a shared manager with us.
Shout out James.
Yeah, we love James.
Bravo Talent Management Agency.
He's a good. He knows what he's doing.
Good egg.
James sort of let me know that we were probably good to go about a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they made the announcement the other day, which is pretty cool. So
Hell yeah, boy.
I'm ready for season 2025.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Give me some of that.
Oh yeah.
I kind of jumped ahead. Who do you play for and what sport do you play?
I play. I'm a Australian rules football player.
AFL?
AFL.
For all you basketball heads out there?
Yeah, I play for North Melbourne Kangaroos. I haven't played a game yet, so this is my this last season's been my first crack at a AFL list. I was lucky enough to sort of get picked up from playing state league footy at the Northern Bullants or Preston.
Nice.
And they must have seen me at local footy as well, so I played a fair bit of local footy for the Eltham Panthers.
Up the Panthers.
We love the Panthers.
We love the Panther Nation.
Yeah, we love the red and black, the Panthers. But yeah, I've been really lucky to get a go on a rookie list at North. Just hoping to continue and make a career out of it, I guess.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
That's crazy.
21 years of age.
He's not 21.
I am.
He's 5.
I'm indeed 20.
He's 5.
It's great. It's
imposter.
It's happened real quick. Yeah, we've all grown up really fast.
I know, it's kind of weird.
So
Finbar just came to visit me in Perth, and the fact that he booked his own flight and then came here and then he made me dinner the other day and I was like, what the hell? What's going on, man?
Yeah, I've all grown.
Yeah, I know.
I'm all grown now.
I know. There was a couple of reasons I wanted to get you on a mini ep of the pod.
Yeah.
The first reason is like your draft day story, like how you found out.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I want you to tell it.
Okay.
It's my favorite story to retell.
Well, I've sort of came out of school and went straight into uni. So I've been studying psychology at RMIT.
Mm-hmm.
So for a bit of this, I've done every job possible.
Rattle out some of the jobs you've been working.
I worked as a disability support worker for quite some time. I've done all the labouring.
You did pest control for a bit there.
I did a little bit of pest control. But sort of towards back end of last year, I kind of thought it was a bit easier with VFL footy and renting to scaffold with my mate Jacob.
Shout out Jacob.
Yeah, shout out to Roger. So I was working as a scaffolder and sort of had a bit of interest after we played the grand final. I played in the Eltham Premiership, the Div 2 NFNL Premiership last year. We got the win. I got a little bit of contact from the list managers at North, but I didn't think too much of it. So I went traveling to Thailand and then came back and went back to work to get some money behind me. And then sort of the day of the rookie draft came around and I was working on site as a scaffolder.
What time did you start that day?
I started at 6:30.
These are the details that are fun.
About 7 o'clock. And I hadn't heard anything from the list managers at Brady or Will Thursfield. And I was...
Just a side note, I don't mean to interrupt because this is your story, but he had called me the day before being like, nah, man, I just don't think it's going to happen. I was like, nah, Finn, it might, you never know. And he's like, oh, nah, I'm just going to go to work and then we'll be sweet. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And anyway, yeah. So you rock up at work.
Yeah.
And you don't think it's happening.
Well, yeah, especially James hadn't really got any, our manager hadn't got too much information either. So, yeah, I sort of said to my best mate, one of my best mates, who's my boss, I said to him, look, I just have to watch the rookie draft just in case. And he's like, yeah, all right, but let's make sure we get a full day's work in beforehand.
Yeah, right, mate. You might be trying to go to the AFL, but make sure you're working.
We had a pretty big setup that day, so yeah, we plugged away all day. But I was sort of checking my phone for messages, didn't get anything, and then I think the rookie draft was at 1:30 or something like that. So
you've been at work for a fair minute.
For a good 6-7 hours or something like that.
Nice.
It's not that. It's close.
Yeah.
And then I said to Jake, I was like, I'm going to go watch this. He was all cool. So I went and sat on the lawn and
outside his work as a scaffolder.
And I watched I can't remember what the draft beforehand. They do a draft. I can't remember what it's called. I watched the 10 minutes beforehand. I was kind of sweating, nervous. And then, yeah, sure enough, the second pick came and North snapped me up. So I couldn't believe it. And I'm sort of sitting on the sidewalk of the street in Doncaster, and I was like, what on earth is going on? So I jumped up, I skipped back, and I told Jake that if I walked back in, nothing had happened, but if I ran back into sight, then we were on, and he saw me sort of sprinting back, skipping no. And then he hopped down from the scaffold. We had a big hug, and then I said, look, mate, I'm probably gonna head off today. And it's like, no worries, bro.
No
worries, bro. And I've yet to. Oh, hello. I've yet to pick up a piece of scaffold since.
Nice.
It's cool.
Do you remember that moment quite clearly when you saw that your name was
Yeah. Cause the dude, bless them. I don't know their names, but the guy's reading out the draft ballot. He sort of looked when the second pick came around, and I knew it was North's pick, and I knew that was my only shot. And he kind of looked at the paper and he goes, "Oh, we love a good story like this. A local footy player, from the Eltham Panthers, Finbar Maley. You've been selected, or you've been picked up." And I was sort of just like, "Oh my god!" It was just like a funny, fuzzy feeling, and everything sort of felt like I was in a dream, I guess.
So you walk back into work. And then you go home, right? Or you leave, or what was it? You got a phone call and they were like, "Oh, we'll be at your house," and you're like, "I'm at work."
Yeah, that's the Brady called me about 10 minutes after, and he congratulated me, and they kind of filled me in on the fact that they wanted to keep me in the dark, which is, I thank them for it because it made for a hell of an experience.
Yeah.
And he sort of said, "Yeah, we'll be at yours." Pretty certain by about 3 o'clock.
And you're like, "I'm at work."
I was like, I'm just leaving site now. So I kind of went home, tidied up the house, and then sure enough, they knocked on my door, and Will and Brady were there holding a North jersey for me, which is so unbelievable.
Were you still in your work clothes when they came over?
No, I think I'd had a shower. And
nice.
I'd also, all the boys, as soon as...
Got him good.
Yes. all the boys had got wind of it by then, so my mates. So then as soon as Brady and Will left, they were I had them, they were all coming in. Everyone was dropping by to give me hugs and stuff. Some were staying around. It was a day.
That's my favourite story.
We like this one.
Finbar Maley, he grew up playing basketball and footy, a little bit of both. But as all athletes, you've hit moments where you've struggled. What has been in your young career, because we find a lot of athletes start earlier now, what has been the biggest struggle physically or mentally that you've faced in your young career? And so far, knowing that there's still so much more for you to face, but do you have a moment that you remember that it was maybe one of the hardest?
Yeah. So probably the most stressful time I've had as an athlete was just so I lived out of home whilst playing VFL footy at 19 years of age. So that was
working 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty stressful. And at the time, so I was, and I, to be honest, like just because I guess I was new to the system, and I'd gone from training, and just playing for the fun of footy at Eltham, to all of a sudden playing pretty serious
full-time
state league footy.
Yeah.
That's I guess part-time.
Yeah. Semi-professional.
At the Ants, and shout out to all those boys. They made it as accommodating as possible. But that was tough. But I think earlier in my first year, so last year or this season, first year at North, I probably had my first experience of like a rut, like an athletic rut.
Yeah.
Where it wasn't so at North, I had life stresses. At Northern Bull Ants, I had life stresses, kind of trying to balance a bunch of things, but
rent, bills,
any relationships, and I'm really close with all my friends. But I think the most challenging time I've had probably would be this season, just earlier in the year, maybe rounds. I can remember from about the Sandringham game this year to we had a bye in round 9 or 11.
Yeah.
I think it was round 9, and I was probably playing some of my worst footy I've played in a while, just as a byproduct of a few things, but sort of losing sleep and because I was putting so much pressure on myself to perform, and sort of then you start losing a bit of sleep. And then you perform worse because your body can't physically tote yourself around. And then I'm sort of didn't really have a set routine during the week, and then coming game day, I'm thinking about 30 different things that I found. Then I'm trying to be the best I can, but it really did kind of stunt me, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was certainly something I had to work out of. A lot of anxiety and around performance.
Had you had anxiety before that?
Yeah,
sport-related anxiety, I guess. Like you've had life anxiety, but
I from basketball, I always had a bit of performance anxiety. I feel like the basketball, especially when you're young, the basketball culture, especially when you're playing decently high-level basketball, I guess. As a young kid, you always kind of push yourself to want to perform in a certain way. Whereas where I played football locally, I just went out and played and had a heap of fun with my mates. And it was always just like, if I didn't have my best game and we got the win, then that's so fine.
Yeah.
Whereas, basketball, I feel like growing up as a basketball kid, there was always like a bit of performance anxiety, but...
Do you think some of that came from the fact that you came from like a basketball family?
Yeah, 100%. Well, like obviously dad's, my old man was a legend of the sport. My mum was pretty good at it too. And, mum was very good at basketball too. And obviously Anna Lee is a star. So, I look up to my family members in that regard. And so then, there's a bit of, I have to be like them. Or is
you don't find that in the footy world? Like you don't find that pressure on a different scale, I guess?
Yeah, I feel like people look at you like... Yeah, I felt like in the basketball world, I felt like I was a bit... I don't like to use it in his shadow, but I felt like I was expected to be something.
Yeah.
Whereas I could make my own path in footy and just more take valuable lessons from, you, dad... part from my mum as well, and certain different life lessons from my older brother. But I can use what I've seen as a blueprint rather than or a rough draft rather than like a blueprint on how to succeed or how do I have to play. Like I can be my own my own player because I'm not
like you're making your own path.
That's exactly right.
So
although Dad, Paul Maley thinks that if he ever picked up a football,
oh my God, don't. He
thinks he'd be Buddy Franklin.
Yeah,
he thinks he'd be Buddy Franklin.
Like, have you ever seen this man try and kick a footy?
Oh, he looks like a robot.
Yeah,
that's why I'm not a great kick because I was taught to kick by a gang.
You ever seen an American try and kick a football? It's not pretty.
No.
Surely we have a video of that somewhere. As a fringe athlete, like we have this in basketball as well, but like where you're kind of playing NBL 1 and maybe like you're not on the full-time wage, you're having to work while you're playing like semi-professionally, trying to break into something. What's your advice for like athletes that are trying to break through like in times of doubt? Like, do you have any advice for them, or are you still trying to figure out how you did it?
Yeah, no. So there was definitely, like I said, with especially whether it's, you know, a fringe athlete whether you're I mean, I don't know have the experience of breaking into an AFL team yet, but certainly getting picked up. For me, I felt like there was a bit of luck, but I think at the end of the day, there's a fair bit of resilience that you have to.
Yeah.
If you can, I feel like that's a really valuable trait that you can have. I don't, you know, whether or not like I were to get picked up, sort of at the end of last year, I think I could have looked at my VFL season and gone, well, I actually, even when I did not want to rock up to training, or I didn't want to go to gym, I did it all.
Yeah, you did
So I
it
was
anyway.
very good at sort of pushing past the mental doubt and just getting the job done, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's
Like resilience.
it's the resilience. Yeah, it is. It's the resilience. Discipline, and there's a difference between motivation and discipline. Where you know, you can be motivated for, you know, a few weeks, but discipline and resilience are gonna sort of push you through the hard times. And you know, when you know you're working 3 jobs or 2 jobs or whatever, and you've got 2 assignments due, and you know you need to put, you know, more time into your uni because that's a sure thing of you being able to find a career. But if you've got a dream, don't let the lack of motivation sort of hinder your ability to get there, I guess. So it's got to be resilience and discipline, you know. And then at the end of the day, I mean, if it doesn't work out, which I hope for everyone it does, if they've got that kind of work ethic, then you can sort of look at yourself and go, well, I truly gave it a crack, you know. So there's no, you don't lose anything by giving by genuinely following, you know, your dream.
When did he get so wise?
I got some from this guy.
Yes, from the Loki.
From the Loki, yes. That's the guy.
Okay, I have 2 more. Number 1 is, like, if you were to have a conversation with, like, 17-year-old Finn Bass, what would you say to him? Like, what advice?
A lot of things I'd say to him. Sacrifice is okay, because I think when I was a bit younger, I mean, it's only been 4 years, but I think I look at some athletes that have come through the NAB League and have started, you know, their athletic, like their real professional journey at such a young age. Like my teammate Harry Sheasel is, from what I understand, the most professional person I've ever seen in my life. And he's a year or 2 younger than I am. I think he's a year younger than I am. And he's been training and preparing the way he has been for a very young age. So I would probably tell myself, because I feel like if I was able to get into a system a bit earlier than I did, because I got picked up at 19, if I were to get picked up at, you know, 18, I have an extra 2 years. So I think I'd probably tell myself to pull my head out a little bit in terms of what I was spending my time on, and probably prioritise because I always had dreams and aspirations, but I probably prioritised social life, and I probably prioritised. I would say social life's probably the best way to put it.
Okay.
So I'd probably just tell myself to follow and do the things that make me happy as well. Feel like I didn't, you know, spend enough time going down to the beach or doing those kind of things, which I think, would, I feel like someone that follows, whether you enjoy surfing, but someone who puts effort into one thing is more likely to put, that brings them enjoyment, is probably more likely to put effort into another. So for me, that would have been footy, or spend more time around the club, or probably surround myself with more like-minded people. So I'd probably tell myself to just prioritise what makes me actually happy, not what, a short burst of happiness.
Yeah.
Um,
And then another thing, this is like something that I noticed with you and with our older brother Marty as well. Like, as a guy, as an athlete, like you grew late, right? Like, so this little bean right here, he was not always like super tall and like kind of jacked. Like, how hard is it? How hard is it to be like a
Jackson? Jackson.
How hard is it to be like a kid, like a 16, 15-year-old kid having dreams, but like knowing that you might develop later? Like, did you keep the faith, or were you just like frustrated at yourself?
Oh, so frustrated. I wanted everything to happen now.
Yeah.
But I think also like when I was, 16, I probably started growing when I was like 15 or 16.
I want to say like 16.
Yeah, I want to say 16. I probably started actually growing. I was always like,
you were so little. You were little.
Sort of tall. I don't know. Yeah, and when I actually hit a growth spurt, that's when I actually started getting probably a lot better at football.
Yeah.
But for a late, like you just got to do what you enjoy, I guess. So if you enjoy footy or whether it's basketball or golf or anything like
don't
that,
let your body stop you.
no, it's just it's the same mindset, I guess. And I guess the younger you are, and actually the older you are, it's all about enjoyment.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of get back to the same. Like, if you enjoy something, put your time and your effort into it, and be resilient in it. I've seen so many athletes like so I say so many athletes, but I can think of one example right now where like Josh Weddle playing for Hawthorn. He's the same draft as Harry Sheezel. He was like so small growing up, and I always played basketball with him at Eltham, and then he rocked up at Eltham Panthers pre-season seniors training, and he was a year younger than me, and all of a sudden this kid has just like grown into a man.
Yeah.
And he's clearly been in the gym and he's working hard, and I'm like, well, that's someone he's been playing footy his whole life, and he's just stuck at it, and then he's had this growth spurt. Now he's just like, he's reaping the benefits, whereas I didn't really have that kind of discipline as a younger kid. So for someone who grows later, just stick at it. Just stick at it.
Last serious-ish question is what has anyone, if anyone, given you a piece of advice in your first year as a professional, like a full-time professional athlete, that's really stuck with you, or is there something that you've picked up that's really stuck with you?
So I don't know if I completely figured this out myself, but I had a chat with Michael Barlow, my head of development at North Melbourne. Legend, absolute legend of a dude. And we I forgot what he called it, and I spoke to you about this before. Yeah. Where probably the most valuable piece of information that especially helped me like post-buy perform. Yeah. Is like to do your body of work during the week. So prepare adequately. Yeah. And do all your I call it self-directed thinking. So like, stress during the week if you need to get those extra goals kicked or shoot, you have a certain 3-point shot. Whatever, do that work during the week so you can, and take your notes, especially around learning the game if you do a bunch of game ed. To prepare adequately during the week means you can rock up game day and think about nothing but the game. Yeah. So I think that's probably the most important thing I've taken out of the last year I've been, or last 8 months. At North, where I'm playing professional football. It's like the preparation is and there's so many different facets to it. Obviously, there's recovery, there's your skill work, but then the mental side is probably the most important. Yeah. So if you're ticking all these boxes during the week, it gives you the ability to be
in the flow state.
In the flow state, and give more to your team. Yeah. Importantly, so I think that's shout out to Michael. Nice. That's probably and he's not the only example of someone. But it's really good advice.
For the North fans, 5 things that people don't know about you, or the footy crew wouldn't know about you.
Well, I think in my first interview, I said on my first interview at North, I said that my goal this year was to get a few surfs, and so everyone
He
would
surfs. Everyone knows he
I'm
surfs.
not very good though, so I don't want that to be some misconception. But I do love the water, especially being surrounded by nature. That's my stuff. Things that they don't know about. That's probably one.
2, if you don't know, get to know. He can sing and play the guitar pretty well.
Oh yeah, I can. Yeah, I write my own music. I love doing that. That's a really good outlet as well. I almost eat the same thing for breakfast every morning.
Yeah.
It's like porridge, frozen berries, peanut butter, and way too much brown sugar.
Nice.
Just mixed in there. Yeah, that's my brekkie every morning. I am. Well, actually, I'm a pretty damn good ping pong player.
Oh my god. Who said that from the USA men's basketball team?
No.
It was Ed. Ed said it.
He's a good ping pong player?
Yeah, but he never stood up to the test.
No, okay. Well, the boys at the club, like at North, probably wouldn't, agree to that because, but I feel like you go to a football club, there's always people better than you at everything. But I feel like I have a certain way of playing that's quite whimsical.
Niche. Whimsical.
Yeah.
He's a whimsical ping pong player.
And I'm a really good dancer. Or not.
He's a really good dancer.
I would say dancing's interpretive, but I would say that it's an interpretive art, as we know. And but I believe that I'm a dancer.
Okay. I'm gonna add a couple things in.
Well, I'm pretty forgetful.
No, I'm gonna add some in. I'm gonna add in 3. Are you ready? Number 1, Finbar used to be scared of the toilet bear, which up until he was about 11 or 12. He thought that bears came out of the toilet. Now, I might have played a role in that fear by telling him that bears come out of the toilet.
Yeah, he probably did. Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were in there. I've said it for years. No one's believed me.
No one.
I don't know.
No one has believed. Did you forget about the toilet bear thing?
Yeah, I forgot about the toilet bear.
Nice. Number 2. Finbar also has been known when he was younger to get into beanbags completely naked and zip his head up. So it's just a body, just a head in a beanbag.
Well, I'm definitely a nudist.
Yeah, he's definitely a nudist.
In some regards, I'm definitely a nudist. Yep. Love the skin.
Yep. And then, what's the other one I was going to say? For the longest time, you didn't like loud noises, but that's kind of changed.
My partner thinks I've got, I'm like an old person.
Yeah, you are an old person.
That's another good one. I'd prefer to be at a quiet pub with good food, maybe some lawn bowls.
Yeah.
That's like the good, Prosciutto Brothers at Eltham.
Yeah.
It's not quite, mate. I'm not really. After a stint into enjoying DJing and techno, I'm more of a live music kind of guy.
Yeah, nice.
6-string gun.
Yeah.
Listening to all the classics being played. And there's a certain guy that is known across Eltham. He's a great man. His name is whoopsie days. I can't remember his name. the local Gary Eastwood.
Yeah.
If you ever hear about, that's another one. If you ever hear about Gary Eastwood, you've got to go watch Gary Eastwood.
Yeah.
I think he used to play at the harp and Q for anyone
Nice.
that knows that area. But
I really don't want it to be forgotten. Anyone at North, just maybe pop a little teddy bear in the toilet or a bear. See if that fear still exists.
It could be. It'd be a pretty horrifying thought to think you sit down in the toilet and you just
toilet bear. Okay, that is it. That is all we have planned for. Thanks for yapping.
I'm Finbar Maley, and that was Under the Surface.
Nice.
Yeah.